It's Saturday, August 15. Welcome to a new episode of Bazaar. I'm your host Sid, and with me today is Shubham Mehta. So, for people who don't know, Shubham is a chartered accountant. He's a CFA as well, and he's currently working with Love Local. I know Shubham for a long time, and I was actually waiting for him to get on the show for a long time. So, I'm really excited for this, and I'm hoping to have a really good conversation with you.
Thanks a lot, Sid, for such a wonderful introduction. Wishing all the listeners a very happy Independence Day.
Yes, likewise. And I think our topic really complements the occasion as well because in this episode, we are going to be talking about the investment potential in India, how it's climbing the ease of doing business rankings, and how the void left by Chinese app ban is being filled at a rapid pace. So, ever since the pandemic started, I think every nation has realized that they need to shift away from China because you can't put all your manufacturing eggs in one basket. This massive global supply chain, which is dominated by China, it is going to slowly crack. And countries like USA, Canada, UK, they've already started looking for alternatives. And China may still be the factory of the world, but it will certainly not be the only player out there. And, I'm optimistic that this presents a once in a lifetime opportunity for India.
Can't agree more with you, Sid. India can't find a better opportunity than this to become the next big investment or manufacturing hub across the world. I think post what has happened, de-risking will happen for sure, and dependency on one single nation will reduce. The lack of transparency which China had has led to an anti-China sentiments floating worldwide, and India seems to be an ideal go-to replacement according to me. With a population of 1.3 billion, India provides a big domestic market for these companies. Cheap, young, and abundant labor is like an added advantage. With around 75% of the population forming part of the working class, India is in the best place to take this position away from China.
Definitely. I mean, the demographic and the average age of the workforce is what makes it such an exciting time to be invested in India. And I think Modi has slightly tweaked his strategy. Before, I remember, the idea was to consume products made only by Indian companies, but now the plan has shifted to make in India. And the aim here is to promote Indian products made not only by Indian companies, but also by foreigners. And, the mission here is really to build a solid foundation that can catapult Indian exports and, enable India to be China 2.0. I'm a little optimistic here, but I think we can really achieve it.
Definitely, Sid. Like how PM Modi has specifically highlighted the fact that India offers a perfect combination of openness, opportunities, and options. The data corroborates the same. Like FDI flows in India is hitting record highs every year. With the current year, as mentioned by PM Modi in today's speech, with the current year hitting an increase of like 18% from the last year. FDI caps has been increased in a lot of sectors like insurance, defense, and healthcare. Everyone around the world wants to be part of this growth journey of India, and this is true especially for these global tech giants.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big tech companies are also acknowledging the fact that India is a big money opportunity. For example, Geo Platforms has raised a staggering $20 billion in the past 4 months from 13 different foreign investors, most notably of which are obviously Google and Facebook are the big tech investors here. But I mean, 13 foreign investors itself, it says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like every investment house in the world wants to get a pie of Geo. Like Geo is just one example, to be honest, of the untapped potential of India. If you look at the frontier technologies like 5G, big data analytics, quantum computing, blockchain, IoT, these are just few of the examples of Modi government's focus areas. And India is definitely on top of the investment list for these players. You name it, like everyone wants to invest in India. Like Google has committed a sum of $10 billion for accelerating India's digital growth. I agree that a chunk of that has gone in Geo, but that is obviously for digitalizing the rural households in India. I am hearing rumors that they might invest in Policy Bazaar also. Then maybe coming to Facebook, WhatsApp is the biggest market. For WhatsApp, India is the biggest market with like more than 400 million users. Hence, the Geo investment which Facebook has made completely makes sense for them to monetize this base. I was recently reading and I read that all the iPhone model suppliers for Apple like Foxconn, Wistron, and Pegatron are making huge investments in India to ramp up their manufacturing. I think along with that, Walmart also topped up their investments in Flipkart by $1.2 billion. So, all in all, what I can say is FDI investments in India are really picking up the pace, and it is just a matter of time when India will become the epicenter of all these foreign flows.
Definitely. It's a very exciting time as well. I mean, companies are already thinking of moving their operations to India on a larger scale. I think all they need is a little push, a little incentive, monetary benefits and stuff like that, ease of doing business. And if Modi can play his cards right, India can emerge or at least contest to become a global manufacturing hub and a preferred destination for foreigners to park their money. But, I would like to also take a contrasting view here that don't you think that we also need a Indian domestic company to step up in a big way? Because the problem with this model is that foreign companies might not keep all their money in India. Some of that money will be repatriated to their home countries. And what happens is that if our entire population is being serviced by a foreign company, that possibly can't be a good thing. What do you think about that?
Uh, I would partially disagree with what you are saying, Sid, because you also need to keep in mind that today's India is different and it is planning to take all the steps which are necessary to ensure that the foreign companies don't face any hurdles to set up business in India. I think the priority right now for us is to develop the infrastructure with the help of these foreign players, which obviously the domestic companies can capitalize later on. Now, if you look at any of these metrics, all the metrics are also showing positive results. India has moved up in the ease of doing business rankings by 65 or 66 places, something in the last 4 years. The government is planning on creating a conducive and favorable business environment. They are doing policy reforms on a regular basis, ensuring that they improve the infrastructure of the country, along with political stability and quick approvals. Businesses in India won't be required to interact with the government much. I think the government is now working to get in place a fully digital single window clearance portal for the industry. The time which any company takes to set up or to start their business in India will reduce to a great extent. One more very key step which has been taken towards this is the ease in land reforms as well as labor laws and compliances, which the Indian government has been planning to do. I very recently read a tweet by Commerce Minister Mr. Piyush Goyal where he mentioned that the government is planning to launch an online land bank portal which will give access to anyone in the world about the land parcels which are available in the country. Now, this is a very huge step in terms of the transparency which they are providing to all these foreign companies.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, with the land and infrastructure points that you were talking about, I think it's very important that we work on these points because India has been historically very, slow to deal with these issues. I mean, land issues and infrastructure issues is actually what is keeping us really back. So definitely the government is taking some right steps. For example, I also read that there were reports that the center is contacting more than 1,000 global MNCs with units in China. These MNCs already have their manufacturing units in China, and basically what the center is doing is that they are giving them incentives to lure them into India. Modi has also told chief ministers to open up their respective states to foreign investment by offering better incentives. So I think the government is slowly making the right decisions, and this could really benefit India in the long term.
Yeah, I think if you like talking about MNCs, Amazon sees India as one of the most important markets, and thus they choose India as the first market for Prime Day this year, which happened I think last month or so. Jeff Bezos, during his visit to India in Jan, has said that what his aim or his goal is to ensure that by 2025, Amazon should be exporting goods worth close to $10 billion from India. So this surely is a huge boost to make in India, which our Prime Minister has been constantly focusing on right now.
Yes, I mean, it does really pay to watch what Amazon is doing and, what are the steps that Amazon is taking. So if Jeff Bezos comes out and says that by 2025, they will be exporting goods worth $10 billion from India, I think that's kind of a very big deal. And so, apart from that, recently, I was just reading all the stuff about these Chinese app bans, and I was very intrigued with the, entire scenario and the void that it has left in the Indian tech space. And I was just checking my Twitter feed as well the other day, and I came across some very interesting tweets. And, veteran angel investors from Silicon Valley are basically saying that if you own an Indian version of the banned Chinese app, we'll fund you. So if you have an app that is in prototype, or if you have any business plan, just start sending out those because, the opportunity is amazing, and especially for angel investors and VCs as well. I think this is a once in a lifetime thing, and I I don't think they're getting any sleep right now. I think they're just working 24/7 because a lot of deals are gonna crack in the coming month or so.
I think we should also stop right here and firstly send our business plan to these angel investors. So yeah, I completely agree to what you're saying. But I think on a serious note, I think banning of these apps, the 59 Chinese apps, was a really bold move by the government. Obviously, the issue with these apps was the fact that there was a potential of a data privacy breach. As I understand that all the information which forms part of these apps firstly goes to a server which is located in China. There are rumors that the Chinese government can access all that information. So obviously, because of this issue, I think US has also banned TikTok. This has led to what we call Indian version of TikTok. So all the Indian apps have gained a lot of popularity as well as investment. And now India, with such a huge population, is a huge domestic market for such apps, for the likes of TikTok and all these video sharing apps.
Yeah, exactly. I remember you telling me about this, and I did a little bit of research. And if you just take a look at the growth in TikTok ripoffs like Roposo, Bolo India, mods, TikTok ripoffs are just growing at a crazy pace right now. I think every day they are adding 2 million users to their customer base, and the reason being here is that there is also increased internet penetration in rural areas, which was not there 5 or 10 years back. Rural areas were not very penetrated. Internet was not really available with people. So with internet penetration in rural areas, there is increased uptick in these apps with more than 500 million people using smartphones in rural areas. So definitely a very exciting time as well.
Yeah, and also like Microsoft is planning to invest in these Indian regional social media apps like ShareChat and more. I was just looking at the Play Store. I could see like they have got like more than 50 million downloads already. So obviously this thing is picking up pace at a very quickly. Now on the other hand, what I've heard is Reliance is planning to acquire TikTok in India. Seems like a very interesting move. I'm not sure, but this is what I've heard of.
I would not be surprised if Reliance buys TikTok India, because we've already witnessed what Mukesh Ambani is capable of, and he's been unstoppable this year. He really has.
Definitely, Motabai, as they call it in Gujarati, has had the best year of his life. Reliance right now is the second biggest brand after Apple on the Future Brand Index to 2020. Mukesh Ambani is now the fourth richest person in this world. So obviously, the fortunes have changed big time for Reliance and Mukesh Ambani this year. And for sure, India's dominance seems to be on the cards. We just need to ensure that we make out most of this opportunity. That is like the key to growing and becoming the next superpower.
Definitely, we have a small window of opportunity, and if we can make the best out of it, it's going to be a very exciting time. And especially if you're a retail investor in India, there is a lot to look forward to. So COVID-19 has accelerated the inevitable, and it has forced companies to move out of their comfort zones and to constantly innovate. And if you would ask me, I'd say I have some really big aspirations from the pharma sector as an industry, because the race for the vaccine aside, I think there is a lot of potential in the API segment as well. India imports around most of its API requirements from China, and going forward with all the Atmanirbhar craze out there, I think this is going to change. So the first movers will definitely stand to gain, because API itself is a very big market. And if you think of buying individual stock, if you think that that is a riskier step for you to take, you can probably throw a pharma focused mutual fund in the mix. And apart from pharma, I think telecom, video conferencing, streaming, and e-commerce are some of the other industries with a lot of runway for growth. The Indian rural sector is also still underpenetrated. We talked about it. Rural is a very big opportunity for India, and I think that is what makes India such an excitement opportunity. And even though the valuations of Nifty, Sensex right now seems to be a little blown out of proportions, because I don't really see any earnings growth right now. But if I'm looking 15 years down the line, I think, definitely there is a lot of long-term potential for India.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think pharma has been the darling of the street in these times. Stocks like DRL, Davis Lab, Lupin, Cipla, Cadila, Biocon have all helped investors make a lot of money. I have seen their results. They have given extraordinary numbers for Q1. Obviously, apart from pharma, even if you see in general also, foreign investors have placed their bets in the Indian markets. I think FII flows in from the beginning of this fiscal, if I'm not wrong, is close to like $7 billion in equity capital markets. So obviously they are putting a lot of money in these potential Indian companies. Apart from the pharma sector, I would just like to bet big on one more sector, that is specialty chemicals, with players like SRF, PI Industries, Aarti Industries. They are expected to perform a lot better with the recent border tensions which is happening between India and China and the tightening of environment norms in China. This will help this sector in a very big manner. And obviously, the strong demand which is coming from pharma and agrochem is going to play a very key role for these companies. So do watch out for them. Apart from this, since I belong to the startup world now, I don't think so I can end my conversation without talking about that. Few themes which I feel will play out in the startup ecosystem is obviously first is e-commerce or retail. These grocery vendors, local grocery vendors, coming online and maybe creating their own stores, or the apps who are providing home deliveries. This is like going to continue because the consumers will not step out of their house. So this is going to stay there for sure. The second sector or theme I would say is edtech, because now everyone has seen that how since schools are shut, everything has moved online. All the classes are happening online. A lot of courses are coming up. I very recently saw a
Yes.
YouTube ad with I think White Hat Junior or someone. They're saying that they are teaching or giving coding lessons to small kids of like 10 to 12 years of old. So
Wow.
obviously edtech is going to be a very very major sector which is going to boom. And apart from that, now with the whole COVID situation, people will become a lot more health conscious, nutritious food. Apart from that, maybe supplements, sanitizers, fitness products, all these will have a huge opportunity and huge market they will be able to capture once the pandemic is over.
Definitely. I think companies really have to also realign their strategies, because everything after this COVID is over. First of all, I don't know how much longer this lockdown is going to go, but once the COVID takes a beating, ultimately, I hope it does, companies will have to alter their strategies of how they appeal to the consumer as well. So these three sectors that you told me about, e-retail, edtech, wellness, definitely something to keep on your watch list, and just keep tabs on it. And I remember, we were talking before the show, and I remember you telling me how India also, it's playing a very significant role in this fight against COVID-19.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like India is seen as a very big contributor by the world to fight this pandemic. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation like recently provided $150 million in funding for the two vaccines which are under trial stages, which is being built by the largest vaccine player on the world, Serum Institute of Pune. So that is going to be a very big thing, and the world is betting on this. Like India to come up with the vaccine is like super important. Apart from this, I was hearing an interview by Bill Gates, and he has specifically mentioned that Indian pharma is the potential of Indian pharma is that huge that they are capable of making vaccines for the entire world. So obviously, like if India can come up with a vaccine within the next coming months, I feel the world will be its oyster.
That's I really like that. If that could happen, very, very good time for India ahead. And to summarize, to just wrap this up, I would say 20 years down the road, if the execution goes as planned, we can really give the Chinese a run for their money.
Not run for their money, dude. India will be miles ahead. I would definitely like to highlight this one slogan which everyone is using, like vocal for local and Atmanirbhar. Like these are the key themes which the Indian government is playing on. And I feel that if everything goes the way things are being planned and with a focused approach, we will definitely be miles ahead of China.
That's really good. I think, that's a very good note to end this show on, because India really needs this, because given the current situation, we are really betting on the long term, and let's just hope that, everything, the execution is just flawless from here. And Shubham, again, it was my pleasure to have you on the show. I had an amazing time with you, and I hope to see you back on the show someday.
Thanks a lot, Sid. Likewise, like it was great interacting with you, and I really hope that we have many such interactive sessions. Cheers.
All right, buddy. People on the show may have certain recommendations to buy or sell securities, but don't buy or sell based on what you hear. Do your own research before you make any informed decision. You can reach out to us at the Bazaar Podcast at gmail.com. We would love to hear what you think of the show. Your feedback means a lot to us, because this will help us to grow the show and to make those tiny little adjustments for you, and we just want to make this a great listening experience. So do reach out to us. We would answer all your questions. I would be looking forward to any of your feedback. That does it for today's show, guys. Happy Independence Day again. We will see you next week.